Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa. Some people call me G, and this corner of the internet is G's Journals. Today, I want to talk about When the Tides Held the Moon by Vanessa Vita Kelly. I was able to get this as an advanced reader copy. I saw the cover, I saw mermaid, I saw gay, and then I was like, yes, let me read the description. I read the description and I saw Puerto Rican main character. Boricua. Wait, would it be Boricua? No way. Boricua. Hold on. Boricua. There's no way. A person from Puerto Rico by birth or descent. Yeah, I saw a Boricua main character, and as a Boricua who feels lost in her Puerto Rican identity, I was like, I need that. I'm going to read that. Let's read that right now. As you can see, I have my notes here. I can't keep the information in my noggin, so you're going to see me looking to the side. Oh well. The book is expected to publish on April 29th, 2025. It is a standalone LGBTQ fantasy. It has romantic and historical themes, which actually come across really well. I ended up learning a lot about Puerto Rican history, which was awesome. According to Barnes & Noble, the physical copy of the book is going to include 2 different full color end papers from front to back and 27 pieces of detailed illustrations throughout. From what I got to see of the illustrations within the advanced reader copy, they are breathtakingly beautiful. I was sitting here wondering what it must be like to have more than one talent. You know, to be a good writer and a good illustrator is wild. And in looking into Vita Kelly's career history, she illustrates for other novels. And I thought that was really cool. So, yay, talented Boricua. Me gusta mucho. Very proud. It's a little awkward in here today. I'm doing my best to get comfortable in front of the camera, but by golly, Miss Molly, it's taking me a while. Disclaimer, listen. If you miss anything else, listen to this because I don't want to hear anyone complaining. From this point on, there will be spoilers. If you haven't read this book, it's fantastic. You need to go pick it up. Come back here. The video will still exist. Okay? If you've already read it, I'm sorry. Let's continue. I'm going to give you a brief recap of the book just in case you've already read it and forgot what happened and you're like, wait, can we even talk about this? Yes, we can. Here we go. It's going to be a minute-ish recap. I'm going to give it all I have to make this under a minute. Are you ready? Because I'm not. Let me take another sip of water. So, Benny's a Puerto Rican immigrant living and working as a welder in Nueva York in 1911. He's commissioned to make a waterproof cage for an avocado-looking white man. That's Benny's descriptor, not mine. And when said avocado white man, aka Mr. Morgan, sees the cage, he offers Benny a job. Benny takes it. They capture a merman. In the process, a mermaid dies. Distracted by thoughts of merpeople, Benny injures himself on the job. He's swiftly fired, promptly evicted, and returns to Avocado Man and is hired at Morgan's menagerie of human oddities. Benny befriends the mermaid while he's in the cage, then internally battles with his role in the mermaid's capture. Is he complicit? Feelings blossom, secrets are shared, threats and torture ensues. Benny procrastinates in freeing Rio. Rio's health declines. Mr. Morgan is in debt to mobsters. Mobsters always collect their debts. That's 101. Everything culminates in the grand opening of Luna Park, where the Prince of Atlantis is revealed. The human oddities stage a grand escape. A fire burns down everything. Benny is shot, and he survives as something new. That's the entirety of the book. I know I didn't do that in under 1 minute. Oh well. Let's keep it rolling. If this is your first time here, I usually break down books into 5 categories: character, readability, plot, world building, and spice. In this book, we're going to do no different. So let's start with the characters. We have Benigno Caldera, otherwise known as Benny, who is our first main MC. He is the Puerto Rican welder who came to New York City just looking to get away from the pains of his past and the death of his aunt, Titi Luz. When he gets to New York, it's a struggle to live and to make enough money to survive. So he's working in a factory and he's welding a furnace, or he's making parts for a furnace, and it destroys his lungs. But Benny is so in need of money and so in need of the ability to care for himself that he's willing to tarnish his health in order to do that. So he's almost easily manipulated. Our second main character is Rio. Rio. For the rest of this, I'm going to say Rio because I'm not confident in rolling my R's. Rio. See, now that I've said it, I feel upset. Our supporting characters, there are so many, okay? Let's start with Samuel T. Morgan, aka Avocado Man, Sam Dixon, Mr. Morgan, and Stupid Bitch. Yeah, he's the owner of Morgan's Menagerie of Human Oddities. Essentially, he runs this sideshow in Luna Park, and he's a dickhead. There's that. So, living within this wonderful menagerie of human oddities, which is a tongue twister that has tripped me up so many times in the making of this video that I might pull my hair out by the end. Living in that place, we have Matthias Martin, who is the strongman in the circus. We have Sonia Kutzler, also known as the Flexible Fraulein. Although, is Sonia her real name? I'll give you a hint. We have Madame Navia, who is the smallest person in the world. We have Emmett and Eli Rhodes, who are seemingly conjoined twins, but really gay lovers. Gay lovers. I love gay lovers. I'm gay. Wow, what a gay thing to say. We have Eeyore Rabkov. I think that's how you spell his name. He is a 12-foot tall man. He may not really be 12 foot. We have Lulu, who is a large woman. And we have Vera, who is a fire-breathing phoenix. Now, if I was going to be any of these people, I'd want to be Vera. Because, like, who doesn't love a bad bitch that breathes fire? There are a few other side characters. The one that I would like to mention is the female mermaid, who is Rio's mother. She was murdered, like, within 2 seconds of meeting her. But for the readability of this story, she was important because there's an illustration of when she's on top of Benny. And when I saw it, I immediately thought this was not going to be a gay book. And I was like, whoa, I came here for this to be gay. Okay, I'm trying to see two men love each other. Where's that? And so I thought her, like, dying on top of him was, dying on top of Benny was gonna be the main, like, love interest. And I actually closed the book, went back to read the description, and make sure that this was gonna get gay at some point. So I just wanted to make that known. I was confused because of the side character, but then she died and I was like, good. As far as the characters, there were literally so many, like, too many to count. But the ones that we were able to spend time with during this story were fantastic. They literally all grow in some fashion, in some form. They all learn their lessons, and I felt like it was great. It seems like a tough thing to do, to progress so many characters at once, and I think sometimes authors struggle just progressing one character correctly. And so to grow and change and adapt like 8 or 9 characters is wild. I am impressed by that. With that being said, for characters, I'm giving it a 5 out of 5 stars. We're starting the categories out well. Can't deny that the writing on the characters was fantastic. And I learned to love each and every one of them except like 3 of them. So that was great. First thumbs up of the day. Woo! We're going through this thing hot. Let's move on to readability before I get insecure and stop doing this. The writing was really flowery for me in the beginning. Like, there was a lot of extra detail added in that at first I didn't enjoy. Gotta be real here. It took me a minute to get into it. But once I reached like a quarter of the way through, I was more comfortable and more familiar with the writing style. And so I was able to enjoy it more. I will say that if you do not like flowery writing, this may not be the one for you, but if you enjoy, deeply detailed descriptions, this is the one. Keep that in mind. This is very good. Okay, as far as POVs, I said a little earlier, we see the book mostly from Benny and Rio's POVs, but the shift between each one is very distinct because Benny is, kind of very chameleon-esque. He is primarily a Spanish speaker, but also speaks a bit of English. He's learned enough English slang to get by, but Rio has been alive for centuries, as far as I know. And so he speaks in this very sophisticated, eloquent, diction. He is using almost like an unfamiliar tongue to speak, and he describes things almost like poetry, which was actually nice. I really enjoyed how his age was presented in the way he spoke. So that was cool. Second thumbs up of the day. Just tossing them out today. And then as far as word choice, so throughout the story, there is Spanish embedded in the writing, whether it's phrases, songs, whether it is just like cuss words or inner thoughts and monologues. There is a lot of Spanish present in the writing. And as a Boricua who's learning Spanish as an adult, I really appreciated that. I don't often get the chance to interact with Puerto Rican slang. I can play Duolingo all day long, but I'm not going to understand the Puerto Rican colloquialisms. That's just not something that I stumble across. And so it was really refreshing to see it here and also to learn phrases that, my mom would say to me when I was young, or certain things that I heard in conversation just at parties or between my family members. And so it was nice. It was in odd sense of familiarity, and it was rewarding how the process of understanding this fictional reality helped me to understand my current reality. And I think that's the point of storytelling, is to serve someone their life reflected in pages, have them eat it, and then understand, oh wait, this is my life that you've just shown me. For that specific reason, I'm giving readability a 4 out of 5 stars. The flowery writing did pull me out of the, story at times, but the intentional weaving of Spanish and English together was so beautiful, in my opinion. So I'm going to leave it at 4 out of 5 stars, and we're on to the next one. We got plot. So let's start with plot progression. The book takes place over the summer. So once Benny reaches the menagerie, he is, fixing things. He is spending time with Rio. He's feeding him, and, they're talking to one another. And I have to be honest, the first quarter of the book was really slow. I felt like it took Benny a long time to get from his welding job to finally working at the circus. Vita Kelly had to show us how bad it was working in the factory, so that when we finally got to the circus, you were like, okay, this is bad, but it's really not that bad. Gotcha, understood, we needed that. But I do think it happened slow. Genuinely, there was not a lick of romance until 25% through the book. And I hate to say it, I hope I don't sound ridiculous, but I was waiting for the romance. I have a short attention span, and I am a busy girl with a busy schedule. And so I was like, where is the romance? Where's the gay? Bring that in here right now. Somebody kiss somebody, because I'm getting a little bored. And that's not a slight to Vita Kelly. I just want to be very specific. I have a problem. Okay, this attention span needs a little bit of something spicy to keep me here. But I did want to get through the writing. I did want to finish the book, so I made sure to get past that, 25% mark. And then, crumbs were given, and we were rolling. We were having fun. As far as plot itself, I was surprised with how much of my life and my family's history I saw reflected in this book. I'm not sure why, but I kind of always thought that I was living a very singular experience and that nobody else could relate to my life and my troubles. And seeing parts of my existence and the existence of those who came before me in physical pages, very specifically, mimicking my history, was wild. I was like, oh my God.
Is this fucking play about us?
That was kind of beautiful. And that's enough about me. Let's reel it back. As far as plot and things that happen in the book specifically, when Rio was in his cage and his hope died after Benny convinced him to act for Mr. Morgan. No, dude. No, that pissed me all the way off, because when Rio's hope died, mine did too. He saw no return for himself, and it took its toll. His physical being depleted, his mental willpower was gone, and he just withered. And that was a huge turning point in the book. The second that his hope died, the pace of the book sped up, and it was just exponentially different. And we were just, from that point on, the clock was ticking to see if we could save him or not. And I was like, Rio, we're gonna save you, my guy. We're gonna save you. And if we don't, I won't read the ending. I am very much the type to not read the ending. You kill my main character. Me? Not here. I'm gone. So, yeah, that was unexpected. That was a plot twist that I did not foresee. But after seeing it, I understood it. And I was like, yeah, if you made me dance for somebody that I didn't want to dance for because I love you and I care for you, fuck you, Benny. I only did this because I love you. And now look, I've given my soul away. Ooh, that hurt. Another plot point that really shook me was the nuance between Benny's action and inaction with regards to freeing Rio from his cage. It was interesting how Benny kept saying, I'm going to free you, I'm going to free you, I'm going to free you. But at every turn and at every opportunity, he didn't take it. It was saddening how Benny was aware that Rio was being tortured by Mr. Morgan and his stupid fucking whistle. And Benny did nothing because he was taken care of. He was comfortable. He finally was in a better situation compared to where he had been. That threw me for a loop because it made me reflect on the things that I may be unconsciously or consciously complicit in whenever I tuck my head and focus on my own issues. At the time, I was also reading War Against All Puerto Ricans, Revolution and Terror in America's Colony by Nelson A. Dennis. And so I was just in a whole thing of like, oh my God, what are my actions doing? Who am I hurting? And it really got me thinking in the ways that our reality is kind of built to insulate us and isolate us from one another and focus solely on our well-being as individuals versus our well-being as a collective. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not sure if everyone will read into that, but when I read, I'm going to read into it. And that's what I found. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's go on to before we go on to world building, the rating for plot that I'm going to give is, great question. Didn't write it on here. Just kidding, I did. The rating for plot is 4 out of 5 stars. Why did I do 4 out of 5? Because the beginning did drag for me, because it took me a while to really get captured in the writing. I had to make it through that like 50% mark. Yes, I got crumbs of romance at 25% way through the book, but it wasn't until 50% where I was coming home excited to read the book, where I was coming home and being like, wait, I need to make time for this. So yeah, 4 out of 5. Still good. If it's under 2.5, not good. Moving on. I'm going to jump right out and say it. I gave world building a 5 out of 5 stars because, yes, some of these places were pre-established, but the life that Vida Kelly gave to these places using the illustrations and using her words was an 11 out of 10 experience. And it allowed me to further see the detail in things that she had written that I was already aware of, but see it in the way that she intended it, which I enjoy. I want to see things how the writer intended for me to see it, even though there is like a aspect of imagination that you kind of have to just run with when you read books. But I kind of want to know that I'm interpreting it right. Because if you tell me there's a dragon and it's pink and I'm thinking it's hot pink, but you're thinking it's a light baby pink, I feel like I missed something in the story when it's different. So the illustrations help me out because I'm a perfectionist even in my imagination. Isn't that some bullshit? Yeah. Anyway, the world building was immersive and believable, except for the fact that Rio didn't shit. I don't care if you're a mermaid, an alligator, or a tortoise. Everybody's shitting in this mother. Whoever told that merman that he can't shit really messed him up because I know his bowels are impacted. Do fish? Hold on. Yes, fish poop. So why wouldn't this merman poop? I know Rio is. I know he is. And we could have talked about that. That could have been fine.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut up.
All right, the last category is spice. I'm not even going to hold you. I gave Spice a 3.8 out of 5 stars. Now you're wondering why. Great question. The spice was good, but it wasn't spicy. It was wholesome and cutesy. I came into this looking for spicy. I was really genuinely, this is embarrassing. I was genuinely interested in the physics of how the mermaid and the human would get together. I was really curious to figure that out. And it's left very ambiguous in this, which is nice. I think that's how it should have been left. But I think because I went into the book with the intention of figuring out the semantics, I was a little disappointed. Just a little disappointed. Because I was half convinced. I had a whole conversation with some of my amigos. And my argument was Rio's gonna pull the tail down.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Long story short, Spice gets a 3.8. We're moving on because I've revealed too much. Overall, this book was fantastic. There are things that are going to make you mad. There are things that are going to make you sad. You're going to be frustrated and you're going to have to hang in there. It's worth it as a read. It was something that I wish I could have read when I was younger. I think if I would have saw myself reflected in more characters within books, I would have had more pride in who I am now as an adult.
Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin. That is serious.
So when you add up the totals, when you do the division, you get 4.46 stars out of 5 stars. Really round that up to 4.5 because too many numbers. You get 4.5 out of 5 stars, which I think is fantastic. I think you should pick this one up, especially if you are Latinx, if you are just trying to figure out your identity, if you are searching for found family. I think you could really feel yourself represented in this one, and it was worth it. But now we're going to talk about icks and top picks. It's a little extra something in case you want to stick around for more. Let's talk about the icks. Mr. Morgan selling Sonia to settle his debts. Sir, you're a big... Morgan killing his original co-founder for the park, Morgan just going endlessly into debt, him threatening everybody, torturing people. Insidious. I can't remember if he died or not, but I sure as hell hope he did. Moving on to top picks, let's end this on a high, okay? The illustrations, literally unmatched. I've talked about them 3 times already. I almost didn't do 3 with my fingers. I've talked about them 3 times already, and they are beautiful. They're fantastic. Another top pick is when Rio invited Benny into the enclosure to swim. That was cute. I liked it. It was very gay. And, you know, I think at a certain point in everyone's life, you just want to be cared for, nurtured. And that was that in that moment and in that chapter. And it was beautiful. Second top pick, everyone coming together and realizing we need to tear down the systems that are oppressing us, our jobs, my life stability. We need to help this mermaid. We need to sacrifice our comfort for everyone's safety, period. I loved that the book ended with Matthias's memoir. It was a smaller note and comment made in a few chapters in the beginning. And the fact that it just ended and we were able to find out that he really did write that book and he really did, you know, make something of what he said he was going to do was really nice and refreshing. And I loved that. My favorite top pick of it all, and it's a quote that is going to stick with me probably for the rest of my life, is when Benny tells Mr. Morgan, "Soy Boricua," and I'm with it, for it, never against it. That was such a beautiful turnaround and, you know, was a play on the phrase that they use for the sideshow. And it was beautiful. I would like to live my life using that quote. I'm a Boricua. And in my childhood, I wasn't with it. I wasn't for it. And I was against it. But now as an adult, I'm recognizing, what the do you mean you're against it? That doesn't make any sense. I need that reminder. I will always be this. Whether I am happy or sad, mad or tired, I will always be this. This will always be me. And the very people that I turn to, my parents, my family, my loved ones, they are Boricua. And this culture and this name makes up the fibers of my being. So who am I to not be proud of that? Who am I to not understand that? Who am I not to take the time to look into and research the culture? And as a side note, when I say the culture, I don't mean just the past. Everything changes with time, and I think I'm just reminding myself that whether I know Spanish or not, whether I can dance or not, whether I can cook or not, I'm still Boricua, and I'm still with it, I'm for it, and I'm never against it. Thanks so much for being here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like if you haven't already, and subscribe before you go. I'm doing book reviews a lot more frequently now, and I will get better at them with time. If you sat through this whole blabbering of my opinions, you're crazy. I'm crazy too, but I appreciate you. I will see you next time. Thanks so much. Peace. Bye.